Guys, this young man ended it all in his off-campus room at the early hour of Saturday, 21st January. It was his best friend who became worried after knocking on his door on 3 different occasions that fateful day that discovered his body hanging from the ceiling when he checked through his room's window. It was a big shock to his best friend and lodge mates and a gloomy day for his department and his school. Now you might ask what happened. Why did this vibrant and promising young man decide that the only solution to his problem is to commit suicide? What tragedy happened to him? What is so painful and unbearable, so out of his control that he felt the only solution is to end it all? My people, the story surrounding this tragic incident is what I brought before you today. This young man, Olona Joseph Oluwabelumi, popularly called That Angle, was a 300 level industrial design student of Federal University of Technology, Akure. It was suspected that he ended it all because of an issue of money he had with his department. It was his best friend, Omoni Enoch, that witnessed the whole incident and narrated to the public what actually happened. According to Enoch, Joseph must have ended it all because he was accused of spending their departmental dues money. How did he end up with the said money and why did he spend it? When school resumed for the 2021-2022 session, the treasurer of the department was not around to receive payments for dues. Being the financial secretary of the department, a lot of students must have been disturbing him, threatening they will eat the money, if he doesn't provide a means for them to make the payments. So he volunteered to receive the payment from the students. Guys, at this point I was wondering, does it mean the department does not have a bank account? At this age and time, are students still doing physical collection of departmental dues? Well, I have not gotten an answer to that yet, but let's continue. When the money must have accumulated, the president of the department requested that Joseph should send 100,000 naira to him for a departmental project. Late Joseph sent the money to him using his Carbon mobile banking app. For some of us who don't know Carbon, it is a digital bank just like Kuda, Opay, VBank, Alert, Rubies, and many others that offer online banking services to Nigerians. So, after Joseph made the transfer, he was debited, but the president was yet to be credited. I guess after 24 hours or more of the president waiting to receive alert and not receiving any, I guess Joseph must have suggested he log into his mobile banking app and check if the money has been there all this while, or dial a code to get his balance, or even walk into his bank to check if such amount was credited into his account. And I guess he must have done all that and finally concluded that the money was not in his account, which made Joseph send several emails to his bank stating the challenge he was facing and asking them to either credit his account back or credit the recipient's account. Unfortunately, till the day the tragic incident happened, the bank did not resolve the issue. When his departmental president did not get the money after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, every other thing Joseph said, every other defense he had became a cock and bull story to the president. I guess by that time, he must have believed his suspicion true, that Joseph willfully, intentionally collected this money from his fellow students, squandered it, and is now telling them a song and dance story. His fellow departmental executives began to question him. The assumption that Joseph collected and spent departmental money began to spread like a burning bush during Harmattan season in his department, among his classmates, in the midst of his junior and senior colleagues. Remember guys, for this young man to be the departmental financial secretary means he must have contested for that position and was elected. He must have campaigned, stood before a crowd of students, and read his political manifesto. So, for someone to do all this and come out to be the departmental financial secretary means he was very popular. at least in his department. So guys, everywhere Popular Joseph went to, people point at him, pick on him, accuse, insult, sneer and threaten him. His friends stayed away from him because they don't want to be tagged. Birds of a feather flock together. And of course, the departmental HOD and other lecturers won't be silent in a case like this. Guys, the pressure became too much. The shame over a crime he did not commit, and the pain of not being heard, of not being trusted, of not even receiving a single helping hand or an encouraging word made him withdraw within himself and stop attending lectures. The only friend who stood by him, Enoch, said he hasn't attended lectures since we got back from the Christmas break because of the pressure. My people, according to Enoch, on Friday before this tragic incident happened, he went to get his phone from Joseph because Joseph's phone was faulty, that both of them used to share his phone. That's Enoch's phone. On getting to Joseph's place, Joseph informed him that his departmental HOD called his daddy and told him that he was engaged in a fraud in school. Enoch said Joseph was very, very disturbed about that. Then Joseph requested to follow him to his office at the Students' Union building because he didn't want to stay alone. He later left Joseph in his office to attend the homecoming event that was held at an auditorium in the school and also to watch a match. Later that day, when Enoch got back to the office, Joseph had already left after locking the office door, but he came back to give him the key so he can enter his office. When Enoch got home that night, he found out that Joseph had not eaten. He had to force Joseph to eat some food. Guys, from Enoch's statement, I guess they were neighbors, or rather they were living in the same off-campus lodge. At around 7:40 p.m., Enoch knocked on Joseph's door, but Joseph did not open the door for him. Thinking Joseph was still angry with him for leaving him alone in the office, Enoch left to come back later. At around 8:30 p.m., Enoch knocked again, and again, Joseph did not open the door for him. Few hours later, at around after 10 in the night, Enoch knocked again, and again, there was no response. So, he went to sleep. Guys, it was the next morning, being Saturday, that Enoch became suspicious that something strange is happening because he went and knocked at Joseph's door again at around 8 a.m. and again, guys, there was no response. Out of fear and doubt, Enoch anxiously went to peep through his window, and what he found was beyond what he had expected. I think he might have expected to see his friend sitting down facing the door and still fuming in anger over what happened the day before. He might have expected to see his friend lying down carelessly on the bed and ignoring him. Or he might have expected to see the room empty, meaning Joseph had gone out, and not to see the gut-wrenching limp body of his friend held by a noose that is knotted to the ceiling fan hook. His heartbreaking screams and cry for help drew the attention of neighbors, and within a short period of time, students gathered, joined him to break the door and bring down the dead body of Olona Joseph Oluwabelumi after untying the knot that aided his escape from his reality. Guys, it is so sad, so heartbreaking that this young man will choose to escape his problem by dying instead of living to testify of how he overcame in the nearby future. I pray his soul gets the peace he seeks. Another source told the police that this boy, this young man, was the last born and the only son of his parents, that he had some unresolved issues with his parents over his poor academic performance in school, that he did not even go home throughout this long period of ASU strike because of this particular problem he had with his parents, which was his unimpressive results. Now guys, objectively speaking, despite all the obvious evidence at the scene of crime, the first question that comes to mind is this actually a a suicide or murder case? Did he do it himself, or was it a planned, plotted and perfected act and setup? After all, it happens a lot. There are so many suicide cases that ended up being a murder case after investigation. For instance, guys, you remember the house help suicide case in Lagos that happened, I think, early last year, where her madam beat the living life out of her, and on finding out that she had died, she, together with her husband, had to make a noose and tie her to the ceiling. Then they started screaming for the neighbors and called the police that their help had committed suicide. So this could be a murder case. But if it were a murder case, how did the murderer escape? Because the door was locked from the inside. Could it be that he escaped via the window? And does it mean that the window doesn't have any protector? Which is very, very rare in a school environment, in off-camp buildings. Okay, let's assume it is a murder case. What could be the motive? What will the murderer gain from seeing him dead? The amount missing is not owned by a single person. So the possibility of the students coming together to plot to eliminate him because of 1,000 or 2,000 naira departmental dues is very, very low. Is the perpetrator coming from his family side? I think even if any of his loved ones has offended somebody or some people and they want to retaliate, they will do it in a way that will indirectly send a message to them that, see, you lost your son because you've offended somebody. They won't be this careful in making it a smooth killing. But guys, if this is a completed case of suicide, then so many factors are involved. The department was supposed to have a bank account, not just for accountability, but to avoid every temptation to pilfer, spend, or misplace departmental money. The HOD and the departmental executives were not supposed to mount this kind of pressure on him, knowing fully well it is not in his power to reverse the transaction. That is, if they have seen evidences to prove he actually transferred the said amount. Now, I wonder the kind of parents he had. I wonder how his father reacted after hearing the complaint from their HOD. I wonder how his father's words were landing like blows upon him that fateful day that made him lose every hope. Why is it that with all the insults, distrust, accusation and threats heaped upon him since the inception of this money issue, it was his father's call that broke him? That call was the straw that broke the camel's back. Joseph made a post on October last year that should have alerted his loved ones. In that post he said, suicide kinda answers all. It's the only thing that lessens and trusts you when you left all to yourself. Good night and goodbye. Now I wonder, why did people not raise alarm when he made this post? My people, this case is deep and wide, and I am not justifying his act. But because our time is fast spent, I will stop here for now. So, let me end with this. Suicide is not bravery, but an act of weakness. An act of cowardice. In times of storm and trouble, remember, it takes a courageous heart to keep taking the next step forward. It takes a brave heart to keep living. Alright guys, please, what do you think about this case? Whatever be your opinion, please drop them in the comment section and I'll be glad to read them. Thanks for staying with me thus far, and may you not lose a loved one via this means. Amen. Bye bye.